Hey Star Trek fans, welcome back to my monthly roundup of Star Trek news and reviews and all kinds of interesting stuff from all corners of the Star Trek universe. I've had several suggestions from viewers as to the title of the show. There's some really good ones. Someone suggested Hailing Frequencies Open. Another one suggested I just keep the title The Star Trek Roundup. However, my favorite suggestion by far was the Raktajino Roundup. So grab a hot cup of whatever it is you like to drink, whether that's Klingon coffee or a Jamaican blend, double strong, double sweet, or even just tea Earl Grey hot, and join me for the Raktajino Roundup. So first up, as always, we have news from Star Trek, so let's take a look at the top stories from the past month. So the most urgent news to start out with, of course, is the premiere of Short Treks, which premieres today on CBS All Access in the US and on the Space Channel in Canada. The first episode, Runaway, premiering today, features Ensign Sylvia Tilly dealing with a mysterious alien aboard Discovery. Here's the official summary. On board the USS Discovery, Ensign Tilly, Mary Wiseman, encounters an unexpected visitor in need of help. However, this unlikely pair may have more in common than meets the eye. As I said, the episode is available today in the US on CBS All Access and airs in Canada on the Space Channel at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The episode will also be available tomorrow on the Crave TV streaming service in Canada. Still no word at the time of this recording as to whether or not it will be available on Netflix internationally. Signs, unfortunately, are pointing to no. However, I'm hoping to be able to re-record this with some good news in the 11th hour, but no word or indications of that yet, unfortunately. I'll have a review of that episode shortly after I've been able to give it a watch. A new teaser poster has just been released for Season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. The design of the poster centers around the 7 red pulses that seem to be at the center of the mystery in Season 2 of Discovery. We also get confirmation on this poster that the series will be returning in January of 2019, which had long been rumored to be when the series returns, but this is the first official confirmation that we get. No word on the exact date yet, but presumably it'll be sometime after the final episode of Short Treks airs on January 3rd. There will, of course, be a Star Trek Discovery event at the New York Comic Con this weekend, and I'll report any news that we learn from that event. Work on the new JeanLuc Picard series is apparently in full swing, with this picture having been tweeted from the writer's room by Patrick Stewart himself. The picture features Patrick Stewart, James Duff, Deandra Pendleton-Thompson, Akiva Goldsman, Michael Chabon, and Kirsten Beyer working on the series. Unfortunately, attempts to zoom in and enhance the script pages, CSI style, on the table have been fruitless. Upcoming productions for the month of October include the Star Trek The Next Generation Through the Mirror Omnibus from Titan Comics. That's coming on October 9th and collects the Through the Mirror comic miniseries. An update to Stellar Cartography by Larry Nemecek. This is coming on October 9th as well. This is a wonderful collection of star maps from the Star Trek universe. I bought the first edition, but the second edition includes updates from stuff that was missed from the original series, as well as what we've learned about the galactic neighborhood from the first season of Star Trek Discovery. October 16th sees the release of an updated edition of Obsessed with Star Trek by Chip Carter, as well as the book Designing Starships, The Enterprises and Beyond by Ben Robinson and Marcus Riley. And on October 23rd, we get The Art of John Eves by Joe Nazaro. This one looks like a really beautiful book, and I'd love to get my hands on it. I have links to order all of these from Amazon in the description below. We also have 2 new comics coming this month. Star Trek vs. Transformers #2 is due out on October 17th, and Star Trek The Next Generation Terra Incognita #4 on October 24th. Rest assured, Bruce Gibson and I will be covering both of these issues on upcoming episodes of Literary Treks. Next up is The Most Toys, in which I review a new acquisition that I've just gotten for my Star Trek collection. Let's take a look. Okay, here we go. So this is the 2018 special Deep Space Nine silver coin from the Royal Canadian Mint. And there you see the packaging, the Royal Canadian Mint on the side. Very plain packaging, but it's what's inside that really counts. So let's open her up here. And first of all, we've got the little stand here, which I'll take out in a moment here. There we go. And I'll just put that to the side. And let's take a look. Oh, we've got a little piece of paper. I think this is probably like the certificate of authenticity. So 2018 $20 fine silver coin, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And of course, it is Canadian, so there's the French as well. Certificate of authenticity. Number 1989 of 4500. And it looks like a little kind of description of it on the back, but I'll leave that for now. Okay, so let's take off the protective foam here and first look at it. Wow, it looks pretty gorgeous. I love the color on both sides of it. That's really something. Let's get it up and close and personal here and get the focus on. There we go. So yeah, we've got the Defiant coming out of the wormhole. The station itself is the silver part of the coin. On the back side, of course, it's a Canadian coin, so Queen Elizabeth II, $20 Canada. All right, let's get it out of the packaging here. Looks like you just push on this and it opens up. That's interesting. The material that's holding it's kind of squishy, designed to hold it in there. It's kind of interesting. Might be a little tough to clean. All right, so let's get really up close and personal and get the focus right here. So you can see the details on the silver part of the coin. They're really gorgeous and very detailed. You can see ops and the promenade and the crossover bridges. And of course that colored part of the coin, the star field and the wormhole and the Defiant. And the edge of the coin is really cool. It's textured with little indentations where the docking ports are. And then the star field on the back side, just absolutely gorgeous. So $20 Canada 2018 with the profile of Queen Elizabeth II as well. Man, this is a really cool addition to my collection. It's just really beautiful. It's definitely not something you're going to want to spend anywhere, obviously. I paid a bit more than $20 for it, but it is monetarily worth $20. All right, let's put it back in this case here, which is designed to make it kind of look like it's floating. And we'll get it in the stand here as well in just a second. So get focused again here. So yeah, right in there. It looks like I did get a little bit of dust in there, so I'm going to have to try and clean that out. But for now, let's put it on the stand and see what it looks like here. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze to try and get it in the stand, but there we are. And back in focus. Yeah, I really like it. That's going to look really gorgeous on the shelf. And I'm going to get that put up on the Deep Space Nine shelf behind the desk there. So, all right, there it is. All right, with that up on the shelf, let's take a look at what's on the bookshelf for this past month. This month on Treklit.com, I did reviews of Star Trek Captain's Peril by William Shatner with Judith and Garfield Reeves-Stevens, Star Trek Deep Space Nine number 23, The 34th Rule by Armin Shimmerman and David R. George III, Star Trek Captain's Blood, also by William Shatner with Judith and Garfield Reeves-Stevens, Part 2 of the Totality Trilogy, and Part 3, Star Trek Captain's Glory, also again by William Shatner with Judith and Garfield Reeves-Stevens. I also did one video review of a new Star Trek book release, Star Trek Voyager Architects of Infinity by Kirsten Beyer. Over on the Literary Treks podcast, we covered 3 novels this month. Literary Treks 242, A Starship Without Coffee, was all about Star Trek The Next Generation number 61, Diplomatic Implausibility by Keith R.A. DeCandido. Literary Treks 243, An Upside-Down Tellarite Organ, all about Deep Space Nine Millennium, Book 1 of 3, The Fall of Terra by Judith and Garfield Reeves-Stevens. And Literary Treks 244, Less Hair, Pointier Head, A Time to Hate, featuring an interview with author Robert Greenberger, in which he talks about the A Time 2 series as well as his time as an editor of the DC Star Trek comic book line. You can find links to all of those episodes and reviews in the description below. Looking ahead to Star Trek birthdays in the month of October, we have October 1st, 2 birthdays that day. First up, Stephen Collins, famous as Will Decker in Star Trek The Motion Picture, and Natalia Nogulich, Admiral Nechayev in several episodes of Star Trek The Next Generation. October 2nd sees another Star Trek The Motion Picture birthday, Persis Kambata, Lieutenant Ilea, who unfortunately passed away a few years ago. And October 2nd was also the birthday of Avery Brooks, Captain Benjamin Sisko from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. October 5th was the birthday of John Hoyt, Dr. Boyce from the first TOS pilot episode, The Cage. Also on October 5th, Duncan Regeer, who played Shakar in 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine, and the ghost Ronin in the infamous episode of TNG Sub Rosa. 2 birthdays on October 9th, Barbara March, who played Lursa in Star Trek The Next Generation, several episodes, 1 episode of Deep Space Nine, and of course Star Trek Generations, where her character met an untimely end. Also on October 9th is the birthday of Scott Bakula, Captain Jonathan Archer from Star Trek Enterprise. October 10th is Michael Giacchino's birthday, composer of many great films, including the films of the Kelvin timeline of Star Trek. October 15th was the birthday of Mark Leonard, who of course played most famously Sarek in the original series The Next Generation, several films, and also played the Romulan commander in the TOS episode The Balance of Terror and the Klingon commander in Star Trek The Motion Picture. He passed away at the age of 72. October 22nd is Christopher Lloyd's birthday. Star Trek fans know him as the villain from Star Trek III, The Search for Spock, Krug. Also on October 22nd, Kitty Swink celebrates her birthday, as well as playing Minister Rozan and a Vorta named Luarin on Deep Space Nine. She is also the wife of Quark actor Armin Shimmerman. October 23rd is the birthday of a Star Trek The Original Series guest star Bruce Mars, who most famously played Finnegan in the episode Shore Leave. And October 23rd is also the birthday of Iris Stephen Bear, executive producer of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. October 24th also has 2 birthdays. First is John Winston, who played Lieutenant Kyle in Star Trek The Original Series and The Wrath of Khan. And the 24th is also the birthday of F. Murray Abraham, who played Ruafo in Star Trek Insurrection. October 26th is Anthony Rapp's birthday, Lieutenant Paul Stamets from Star Trek Discovery. October 27th, we celebrate Robert Picardo's birthday, who of course played the Doctor in Star Trek Voyager. October 29th is the birthday of Winona Ryder, who played Spock's mother Amanda in Star Trek 2009. October 30th is the birthday of William Campbell, who played Trelane and Koloth in the original series and reprised the role of Koloth in an episode of Deep Space Nine. And finally, also on October 30th, notable Star Trek guest star J. Paul Boehmer, who played many roles in Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise. And finally, as with every month, I'd like to close out with a bit of an update of the shelf behind me. So let's take a look at the Star Trek The Next Generation section up here and see what we can do to change that up a bit. Alright, so we have Lieutenant Commander Data as Sherlock Holmes, the Enterprise D, and the shuttlecraft Goddard. I'm going to switch those out. I think I'm going to keep the Enterprise D. I mean, nothing's really more iconic of Star Trek The Next Generation than, of course, that ship. But I'm going to take out the shuttlecraft here, as well as Data, and replace him with this photo op that I managed to get with Sir Patrick Stewart, along with my friend Chris. So we're going to have that representing Star Trek The Next Generation here. And I'm going to go for a kind of yesterday's Enterprise scene. So like I said, I'm going to keep the Enterprise D, and let's put in the Enterprise C. A lot of people have complaints about this Eagle Moss model, saying it's not quite accurate, but I mean, it's pretty good. It looks like the Enterprise C. There's a few, if you want to get really nitpicky, a few issues with it, but I rather like it. And then we're going to also put in a Klingon bird of prey to kind of round out the climax of the episode, Yesterday's Enterprise there. So, all right, here we go. There's your new Star Trek The Next Generation section of my wall, till I get around to changing it again. All right, so with that shelf updated, all that remains is to thank you all so very much for watching, and thank you especially, of course, to the Patreon supporters for all the help that you provide in bringing these videos to you. Thanks everyone else for liking, sharing, and subscribing if you felt this video was worthy. And if you know of someone out there who might be interested in monthly updates about all the happenings in the Star Trek universe, why not send them this video? I'd really appreciate it. Thank you again so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video, and I'll see you all soon with my review of the first episode of Short Treks. Really looking forward to that one. Take care. I'll see you in the next video. And of course, live long and prosper.